Started. So wish to officially open the April 2026 agenda briefing session. Agenda briefing sessions are used to inform councillors on the items of business to be presented and discussed at the forthcoming ordinary council meeting. These meetings are open to members of the public who may request to present a deputation to council relating to an item on the agenda. No decisions are made at these meetings, although councillors can request additional information or alternative wording be provided to allow for motions to be prepared for consideration at the forthcoming ordinary council meeting. Any statement regarding any planning or development application made during agenda briefing session is not to be taken as notice of approval. Anyone who has an application lodged with the Shire must obtain and should only rely on written confirmation of the outcome of the application and any conditions attached to the decision made by council. Any audio and visual record will be made by means of live streaming of these proceedings and uploaded to the Shire's YouTube page for viewing. Acknowledgement of country. The Shire of Harvey acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal communities, their cultures and to elders past, present and emerging.
This isn't official.
Okay. Alrighty, so records of apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Holly, and we also have Councillor McCarthy, who is attending the agenda briefing session from her residence, and I have concurred with that request. So welcome, Councillor McCarthy. You can hear us loud and clear?
I can, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can, and just a reminder, councillors, when we speak to have the microphones on so that Councillor McCarthy can hear. Declarations of members and officers' personal interests. Are there any, councillors? Councillor Coleman.
Apologies, I didn't send this through. I'm the Vice Chair of the Wellington District Health Advisory Council, so I'll declare a impartiality interest on 5.3.2, which is the Public Health Plan.
Thank you, Councillor Coleman. Any others, councillors or staff? No, we'll move on. Deputations is nil, so we shall move into officers' reports. First one being 5.1.1, which is the proposed standard scheme amendment number 3 for Lot 8 Wright Street, Harvey. And we have Mr Putland here if there are any questions, councillors, in relation to this item. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, and I'd like to commend Mr Putland on these reports. It goes from R15 and R40. Do we have an indication, given those sizes of those land, how many units are likely to be on perhaps this one and even the next agenda item as well?
Mr Putland.
Yeah, through the chair, we are expecting on this one somewhere around 29 units, 29, 30 units, and on the other one I think it was 34 units on Hester Street. If they're developed that density, there may be, say, give or take 5 though, depending on the size of the lots that the market sort of supports.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? Sorry, I'm just looking for my notes, which I have lost, but no, okay then, thank you. 5.1.2, which is the proposed standard scheme amendment number 4 for Lot 9 Lee Street in Harvey. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you. I understood initially that this particular lot was Crown land. Is that the case, and the scheme amendment can still go through if approved by council, or is there an extra step involved, or have I got it completely wrong?
Through the chair, the scheme amendment can go through. It is Crown land vested with the Shire. We did write to the Minister and ask for support to develop. He indicated that, well, at least not opposition, but indicated fairly strong support, suggested that we discuss with and negotiate with DPLH, which we have done. If the amendment proposals are supported by council, they will be forwarded to the Minister for permission, consent to advertise the amendments. So the Minister will see this one again.
Yeah, just a follow-up. So does that mean that we can, in effect, develop in some format, if approved by council, and we can draw rates from that? Or is this more for aged care where we can't draw rates being Crown land?
Through the chair, depending on the way it's developed, if the intent with this one is to engage with affordable housing providers for them to develop the land and for them to negotiate directly with the state government. So we're not recommending that the Shire buys this one, but that the land is made available to them. If we rezone it, that allows that development to occur. And dependent on how they're structured, they may be rateable or may not be rateable. It depends how they're classified under the Local Government Act.
Councillor Bromham?
Yeah, do we have any control over that?
Through the chair, yeah, it's council initiated, and we are suggesting that there is a working group. I think there is a resolution of council to form that working group, and this was one of the parcels of land we were looking to have that working group work on. The council will have a high degree of influence over what and how is developed, or what's developed there and how it's developed.
Councillor Coleman?
Yes, and thank you again, Mr Putland. Those are the two reports. I noticed there was no report about Young Street. I'm just wondering is that because it was already zoned and ready to go? And if so, how many units are we looking at that particular one?
Through the chair, yes, the Young Street land is already zoned for residential development, and depending on, again, the layout, I'll have to give a guess because I don't remember the actual figures, but I think we thought that we could easily fit 6 units on that one.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? No, thank you. Item 5.1.3, which is the Council Plan Quarterly Report for Quarter 3, 2025-2026. This has already come to the Audit Committee, but are there any questions, councillors? Not, this is separate, okay. Councillor McCarthy, thank you.
Hey, just on that one, I'm just wondering, page 25, under objective 4, talking about youth involvement, there was talking there about approaching Harvey Senior High School for youth advisory, etc. I was wondering whether Australian Senior High School had been considered as well.
Thanks, Councillor McCarthy. Hazelhurst?
Through the chair, I assume so. However, I will check that and take that on notice. Thank you, Councillor McCarthy.
Any other questions, councillors? No, thank you. We'll move on to infrastructure services, 5.2.1, which is the Welga Climate Change Advocacy Position Change. Are there any questions, councillors? Councillor McCarthy, have you got a question or you've got your hand up from the last question? Thank you. No?
No.
All right, we'll move on to item 5.2.2, which is the Uduck Road Plane Trees. Councillors, are there any questions? Councillor Coleman.
Thank you. Given and thank you to the community for putting in so much feedback about the trees. Given the number of suggestions about it, what is the viability of turning the section of Uduck Road from Westpac Bank to Young Street into a mall, which would obviously divert traffic around it? Now, we've had this conversation over 7 years that I can remember. I'm just wondering what the current viability is or appetite is to consider the viability of that suggestion, which was in several people's suggestion.
Who would like to give that one a whirl? Other than I would suggest, and I did notice that coming through, there was a bit of a trend there for a supporting of a more. I would suggest that would be another consultation sort of, thing that we would have to work through with the community and the business owners around that. And Councillor Carboni, maybe another consultant, but no, I think we will. At this stage, we'll just deal with the trees if we can, and we'll take that one on notice about following up with the possible changes to the CBD. Any questions? I did have one. I drove down there the other day, albeit just heading out of Harvey, and I suppose there's only about 2 or 3 areas where there are those speed humps heading out. So is it possible to just remove those particular trees and then deal with the management of the others if we decide to retain them, or is it easier just to shut? Oh, welcome, Mr. Faber.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess to answer your questions, anything's possible. At the moment, the report doesn't look to recommend the removal of those trees. What will happen in the future, and the report sets out, is that there is going to be ongoing root damage to the road. I guess my personal view is that it's an asset to the community, and we treat it like if it was a building, we would undertake maintenance on it to keep the upkeep. And I'm suggesting in the report that we would do a similar thing for the trees. If council was to decide to remove them, that could happen, but you will still get damage on the other trees. And then I guess if it was another subsequent decision, ultimately you would end up with no trees in the main street.
We keep culling them. Yeah, okay then. Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Bromham.
Sorry. Yeah, UDOT Road has lots of trees on it in relation to power lines. I just wondered what the cost was of maintaining those trees. I know they're not these particular trees, but there's a lot of trees down there. I know they really look good, but there must be a cost involving with that.
Yep, through the chair, there is a cost. We do an annual under power line pruning. So effectively all of the box trees to the west and the trees to the east get that annual pruning each year. I'd have to take it on notice to get you an actual cost, but there's a per tree cost that the contractor charges the Shire to undertake that works each year.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? No, thank you, Mr. Faber. Sustainable development. Let's move to 5.3.1, which is the proposed standard scheme amendment for Lot 51 Raymond Road, Rowlands. Any questions in relation to this one, councillors? No? A bit busy out that way on Raymond Road, aren't we? With development. All right, 5.3.2, which is the Public Health Plan 2026 through to 2029. Any questions around that one, councillors? I just have one, and I'll try and pose it as a question, but I'm just, having read through it, cautious of some of the wording that we use with the action plans, so that we're not seen as becoming responsible, I suppose, for those particular actions. So if it's possible just to review them again with the view of, and I support and deliver healthy food and nutrition education initiatives through the school. Is that really what we want to be seen to be doing? There's a couple of other ones in here that I've highlighted in reviewing. So I'm just cautious, I suppose. And do we have time to just to review that and make sure that we get the wording right so that we're not, we don't have the community coming back and saying, but you said in your plan you were going to deliver that and you're not. So I'm just cautious around some of the wording in regards to the actions. Is it possible, timeline-wise, to just have a quick review of that?
Through you, Madam President, yes, we can look into that,
Okay.
make those changes.
Anything else, councillors? Councillor Coleman?
I concur with what you said, Madam President, but then I thought that because it's going out for public comment and coming back to council for adoption, that we would have time to review those comments and address any expectations that couldn't be met. So, but yeah, I concur with what you said.
Okay. All righty. Other than that, good report, and we'll see what the community comes back with. Thank you. All righty. 5.3.3, which is the Economic Development Strategy. We are forward 2031. Councillors, were there any questions in relation to this item? No? Oh, Councillor Coleman?
Just one, Madam President. I noticed that as well as the executive leadership team, you went out with and met many of the businesses and that. Is there anything in there that is not contained in the report that you gleaned from those interviews? Is there any sort of further updates or anything like that that we perhaps should be aware of?
No, I think it's fairly well covered in the report. They did ask me if, you know, when they were putting it together, was there anything that additional that I wanted to put in there, but I think it's been all covered in the report, in the strategy moving forward. Any other questions, councillors? No, thank you. Let's move on to corporate services, 5.4.1, financial statements as at the 31st of March 2026. Any questions? Councillor Coleman?
Thank you. I notice under the capital expenditure preamble that it says that we budgeted 58.2 million on capital projects this financial year. We've only spent about 7.6 million to the end of March. How much more do we expect to spend by end of June, knowing full well the balance will be carried over to the following financial year?
Mr Winter?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. A lot of the dollar values there were for the big ticket items that aren't commencing this year and will be carried forward. So the bulk of what we'll show between now and June are the roadworks and some of the playground works that we are currently undertaking. So there still will be a large amount of carry forwards. Not sure if Mr Sunil wanted to add anything to that.
Mr Sunil?
Well, if we look into the Forward Capital Works program, which will be coming, I think, next item, you will see around $3 million of projects which we have carried forward to the next financial year. But that's the current estimates. It might increase by the end of June, as Director of Corporate Services mentioned that it might increase, but the current estimates is we're expecting the $3 million of the project will be carried forward to the next financial year, out of the total $7 million.
Oh, okay. So 3 million out of the 7.6, but also the balance of the 58.2 million will be carried forward for the Harvey precinct and other big projects, is that right?
Yes, that's correct, yep. So 58 million coming from?
It says that the Shire has budgeted to spend 58.2 million on capital projects throughout this year, and some of them will be carried over. 7.6 million will be carried to the end of March.
Yes, so out of the 58 millions, which at present expected is 3 million will be carried forward, which is mentioned in the Forward Capital Works program. But as I mentioned, figures might increase depending upon, like for example, the playgrounds which we have already released the contract, but the contract is saying that it can delay by July 2026, so the figures might increase. But at present, we're expecting $3 million of project to be carried forward.
Thank you.
Mr Winter? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, there were other capital allocations that we had in the budget, for example, towards Stanley Road that won't fully be allocated this year. And the Harvey Community Precinct, that 7 million obviously carried forward, and those sort of projects. So there is a lot that won't be completed this year, but obviously we still have works that are currently being undertaken.
Any other questions, councillors? Thank you. We'll move on to 5.4.2, which is payments for March 2026. Any questions? Councillor Coleman?
Not a direct question about the payments, Madam President, but when I send in some questions via email through the process so that staff can answer them, fully, how do we capture that so that the public realise that we are asking those questions and that we're essentially not going behind closed doors for those questions? How do we gauge that? I remember many months ago I brought up we might put an attachment to the minutes, but I'm just with all these new reforms and having to be very careful about what we are open and transparent about. How do we capture those questions? And I usually have quite a few that are asked of finance that are actually on the agenda. How best do we do that?
CEO?
If councillors email questions in, they're ordinarily responded to via email, but if councillors wish to ask them in the meeting, then they can do that, and that will be recorded through the live stream. But there are no note-taking as part of the agenda briefing session. It is not a formal meeting of council, and so none of the standing orders or the regulations relating to meetings actually apply to an agenda briefing session. So I would suggest they're verbally requested and asked in the meeting.
Sending them through via email enables staff to have a response at the agenda briefing, so it gives them a heads up. So you have every right to ask the questions, and but by sending them through earlier enables staff to get a response so that the community can see what the response is or hear what the response is. Yes? Keep going.
No, yep. No. I totally agree with that. It just seems a shame to take up so much time when is there no facility for us to be able to include those written responses within the minutes? Does it have to be read out here to be included?
Well, there are no minutes for the agenda.
No, in the ordinary council meeting, because this is just the briefing where we ask the questions. So in the ordinary council meeting, is there? How do we be more transparent without tying up the agenda briefing, asking questions? That each of us might have 10 questions about the finance. So I'm trying to preempt to make sure that we are not seen as not being open and transparent with the new reforms.
There is no format as part of the council meeting minute taking to note questions that are asked by council members during the meeting and recording those as part of the minutes. So the live stream is the format for open transparency, and those questions would need to be asked verbally in the meeting.
I'll wait for the next agenda briefing. But I see where you're coming from, Councillor Coleman. Yep. All right, 5.4.3, the Forward Capital Works Plan, 2026 through to 2031. Are there any questions, councillors? Having noted that we did quite a big workshop on this one last week, so hopefully all is good. No? All right, 5.4.4, the Cyber Security Policy, Strategy and Implementation Plan, noting that the attachments are confidential, so if it's just a general question about the plan as such, if there's something more technical, we will need to deal with that behind closed doors. I'm looking at you, Councillor Hitchcock. Have you got anything? No? No? Alrighty. I suppose my not my issue, but I obviously read through it all, and there's a significant workload there for IT staff. So, yeah, I suppose moving forward, if we were to do all of those audits and the like that have indicated in that particular report, are we looking at needing more staff to enable that to happen? Are we in a position to comment?
Thank you, Madam President. Part of the process is going through the annual budget requirements and for council to make that determination. So if there was a need for additional staffing, council would be able to have that discussion at the time. Otherwise, it might be something like an implementation of something like a SEAM, where it might be $75,000 straight up. So depending on what it is, depending on the nature of it, we'll be able to inform council if we need additional resources on an annual basis.
But our current staffing level, we should be able to accommodate all those actions that are within the plan.
So our current staff are fully utilised in that we have a number of locations, rec centres, different offices, and they are currently fully utilised. So if there's more work for them to do, there's got to be savings in other work that they currently do. Or we use consultants to assist us.
I knew the C word would come out. Consultants. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Winter. Any other questions, councillors? No, thank you. Community and Lifestyle 5.5.1, which is the Leschenault Leisure Centre Service Review Update. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Coleman.
Thanks, Madam President. I note that it includes the removal of the Sport and Rec portfolio from the Community Development Business Unit. So where will it go?
So the Sport and Rec portfolio, the person who currently deals with that, it's proposed to look at moving that portfolio to the manager of active lifestyles and recreation, so that there will be a support person under that manager.
Under which business unit will that be?
Active lifestyles and recreation.
Oh, sorry, it's a complete new business unit. Okay, thank you.
Correct.
All right, any other questions, councillors? No? Thank you. Is that it? Okay, notice of motion for the following meeting is nil. Get that in quickly. Yeah. Too quick. Matters behind closed doors is nil. Being no more further questions, thank you everyone for your attendance. It has been a long day. I thank you for your participation, councillors and staff, and I declare the agenda briefing session closed at 4:28. Thank you.